Well, seems like we got a jealous old lady attacking a woman who's young and beautiful. We all know that women are constantly fighting with each other. It's a story as old as time itself. And it's always the unwanted, unattractive, old, unmarried, undesired women that want to attack women who are young and beautiful and heavily sought after. And now we have a Christian zealot attacking Sydney Sweeney. Who am I talking about? Melonie Mack, the woman who called gamers losers for wanting attractive women in games like The First Descendant.
Do I think that people participating in these activities are losers? Yes. But you know what? It doesn't mean you have to always be a loser. Have I ever been a loser? Have I participated in activities that made me a loser? Yes.
She's a huge advocate for censorship of beautiful women in games, and nobody should take her seriously because gamers are men, and video games have always been by men for men. And now she is claiming Sydney Sweeney is disgusting and degenerate for calling off her marriage. And it's honestly pathetic, coming from a flat-chested woman. And we're going to look at the tweet that she posted. But before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to push this video out in the YouTube algorithm. And here's the tweet from Melonie Mack. It says, "Bunch of degenerates are celebrating that a slut called off a marriage with a man who loved her so she could pursue her career being more of a slut." First of all, how is Sydney Sweeney a slut? Someone who is considered a slut is someone who sleeps around constantly. If she was, she would have been sleeping around with dozens of men. But clearly she didn't do that. Second of all, you don't know the whole details of her marriage in the first place. The tweet that you're responding to says she's not ready to settle down. It could be many different things. Obviously, if you have a dirty mind, it could sound dirty, but you don't know anything about their relationship. And third of all, I find it so funny coming from a 40-year-old, dry, flat-chested, pancake-ass divorcee who is unmarried and attacking a beautiful woman that a lot of men across the country love. If you know a lot about marriage, why did you get a divorce? Apparently you got a divorce in less than a year, so your marriage didn't even last that long. You're a fucking loser. And no man wants a woman in her 30s and 40s, so you're most likely going to be alone for the rest of your life. And now you're attacking the sexy, beautiful, stunning Sydney Sweeney, who's like the sexiest woman in Hollywood right now. It's honestly fucking pathetic. This is why there's no such thing as Christians on the internet. Because if you were a real Christian, you would be married at your age. But you're insufferable, you're annoying. And that's why after you divorced your husband, he found another woman and she's way more attractive than you. So that tells me you're the fucking problem. And now you're taking your anger out on a stunning, sexy Sydney Sweeney. Because you're jealous, you're miserable, and you're unhappy trash. Because you have no chest and you have no ass. So shut the fuck up, stop projecting, stop being a whiny little Christian idiot on the internet, because all Christians want to do on the internet is just talk down to people. Y'all want to disrespect people, but y'all not living by your own Bible. Y'all don't read your own fucking book, because if you did read your own book, you want to be preaching down to people, you would be living by the book. It's just honestly pathetic, and everybody in the comments are laughing at you. Like this reply here, it says, "At least she has a career. You on the other hand are in your 40s with no kids, divorced, and you live 24/7 on Twitter. My girl, you're the living, breathing example of what failing in life means." It's true. It's true. You can't be talking down to people and say, "Why did she call off her marriage? She's a slut." But she's not. You're acting like you're in a marriage. You're acting like you're better when you're not. You are a failure in life. And if you spend a lot of time on Twitter, you are a loser. Twitter is for people who want to treat Twitter like it's therapy. You have to have some kind of mental health condition to tweet like 20, 30, 40 times a day. That is so boring. That is so miserable to sit there and just scream on Twitter. Twitter is just for losers with no life. If you want to use Twitter to quickly get news, fine. But if you're sitting there just arguing with people, getting mad, screaming, you're a loser if you use that website like that. Because you don't got no other responsibilities other than having dumb conversations on the internet. So at least Sydney Sweeney is actually working. And you have no room to talk because you are the one that left your husband. And that's what this reply is saying here. Didn't you divorce your husband? You got little room to critique anyone. You ruined your marriage. So maybe you're a slut. You ruined your marriage just so you can talk about video games on the internet. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But when you want to talk down to people who look better than you and are doing more work than you, while at the same time not being the example that you want to see in other people, it just comes off as jealousy. Because women are always jealous of each other. Women don't get along for some reason. They always want to fight and one-up each other. They always want to compete with each other to get the most attractive man, to get this, to get that clothes, to get these shoes, to get a bunch of money. Women are just always at each other's throats. I do not understand it. But of course, every single time a Christian zealot gets called out, another one comes to defend them. And it's the worst one you could have possibly actually thought of. It's John Della Rose, and he said this: Melonie's right and hoes mad again. This guy is a fucking loser. First of all, he's a wife beater. He be slapping his wife around and beating her ass on the regular. You can see the domestic violence restraining order here. A wife beater should not be pretend to be a Christian. He's a fake Christian grifter, fake gamer. He doesn't care about anything or has any morals whatsoever. And not only is he a wife beater, he's a queer furry. No, I am not joking. He loves to be his Me Too Lucario from Pokemon. I can show some of the tweets on the screen. One of them says he wants a fine piece of that Lucario ass. The other one is him getting excited that Lucario is getting backshotted by a Charizard. I remember I made a video on this guy a while back when this got exposed. It's one of the funniest videos I've ever made. You can click on the top right corner if you want to watch that. Yeah, this dude is a huge fake Christian grifter. You know how a lot of Christians are on the internet. Majority of them, I should say, if not nearly all of them. They just use Christianity as a way to talk down to people, and they think Christianity is a cheat code to get a lot of views on the internet, because a lot of conservatives on the internet will just latch on to anybody who gives them attention, especially when it comes to someone being a quote-unquote Christian. But none of these people who call themselves that actually live the lifestyle, whether it be John Della Rose or Melonie Mack. These people are frauds. There's no such thing as a Christian on the internet. I'm not surprised these frauds got each other's back, and I'm not surprised there wasn't a woman who came to defend her, because women don't defend each other, because women are their own worst enemies. And that's what this reply is saying here. Women are their own worst enemies. Such blatant bitterness towards someone who has never heard of you and most definitely never will, because that's how women are. Women are always at each other, scratching at each other, fighting each other, beating the shit out of each other. Okay, maybe not that far. Maybe some women, but they're always fighting with each other nonetheless. And you get the idea behind all of these different tweets. A lot of people are pointing out the hypocrisy of a 40-year-old divorcee, flat-chested, pancake-ass Christian woman talking down to the beautiful Sydney Sweeney, when Sydney Sweeney is way more desirable. Don't be talking down to people and calling people a slut for calling off a marriage when you ended your marriage. You're a lot older than her. If you think you know everything about marriage, why aren't you married? You quote-unquote Christian, you fake fucking Christian. If you were actually a Christian, you will be doing what the book tells you to do, and you will not be attacking a woman who looks better than you. And calling Sydney Sweeney a slut is not going to make your situation any better, and she'll probably find another man in the near future. Your comment just came off as jealousy, and you of all people should know that envy is a sin. And I don't have much else to say. I don't want to keep repeating myself. So Melonie Mack, go fuck yourself.